All right, everybody, welcome to the 99th episode of CoCreative NoCode's Office Hours. I am Tonya, your host, and we are here with Thomas and Juan and Kim. Hello, everyone. If this is your first time tuning into our office hours, we actually do this every day of the week, Monday through Friday, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we invite our members and our guests to come in and ask any question that they like around Bubble or bring up any topic that they want around Bubble, and we will discuss it. We don't promise answers. We promise you won't suffer alone. And yeah, it works out. Thomas, did you say you had something for us this evening?
Yeah, well, I guess I just wanted to understand what was going on with what you helped me set up the other day on the Lean Canvas.
Okay.
May I share the screen?
Please do.
Okay, cool. So I'm trying to understand the connection between the data types and the option sets. So I know that last time you helped me set this up, and I've been kind of studying what you've done here with the group and the repeating group and then the input. So now at this point, I'm trying to figure out, does it make sense to auto bind initially or not? Let me do something about this real quick. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. 5% is concerning.
Yeah, I have to go often. I just get carried away.
I never unplug mine from the wall, so I never see that.
So I was trying to save. I haven't started yet. I was thinking about whether doing auto binding initially through each of the steps or just saving at the finish step. I think I'm just going to do it saving at the finish step and then auto binding. Now, I don't quite understand how to go about saving through option sets. And that's where I'm getting a little stuck.
Got it. So
No.
you're not actually saving through option sets. You're just assigning an option set option to a field on the data type. So the field of type is of type canvas answer type options, which is an option set, right? Mm-hmm. So when you are creating or modifying a answer, you're setting its type based on whichever type you're entering, right? So like, let's go from the final like button that you want them to click before you actually save anything into the database. So the finish, right? So on that button click in your workflow, you're going to create a new canvas. Now, I think I might, if I were you, I might just go ahead and create the canvas and start creating the answers as I go. Because there's going to be a little bit of, because you're going to need to create 3 at a time throughout the whole process, as opposed to one click that then has to go to the back end to create 27 things.
You mean like just
that make sense?
And just allowing them to adjust?
Yeah, so yes, exactly. So maybe create the canvas itself and then start creating the answers after they finish each section. And it doesn't have to be auto bound. It's just when you click that button, it'll just kick off a back end workflow to create the 3 answers.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap.
And then you'll go to the next one. Yeah.
So what I was thinking of doing was that when they created a new one, there would be a pop-up that would say, would you like the canvas, or would you like to do it step by step?
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. So maybe what you do is you just go ahead and create the things right then.
So yeah, so just create them at the finish step. Is that what you mean?
No, I meant when they click the button for the new one, regardless of whether they're going straight to the canvas or they're going to go through the step-by-step process, just go ahead and kick off the workflow to create the 27 answers, the canvas and its 27 answers. So yeah, when button add new is clicked, so go to your back end workflow.
Like the actual backend workflow section?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never actually used
Well,
this.
now is a good time to learn.
Exactly. So trying to
So
remember.
go to where it says page.
Sure.
Page index. Click on where it says page index. And then, yep, so we have to set it up. So if you go into settings at the, yep, perfect. And go to API. And then enable backend workflows up at the top. The very top. Nope, scroll up.
Enable.
Scroll up.
Up,
Yep, scroll up. There you go. The very top one. Yep. And so now you're going to go into go back to where it says page index. And you'll see backend workflows. Yay, let's create your first one.
Whoa. Something new every time, literally.
Something new every time. So you go to new API workflow, and I'm going to have to think about how we're going to do this. We're going to create 27 things, but 3 of each type. So
So are we using a backend workflow on that like create new to so that we can auto bind? Is that what we're trying to do?
yes.
Okay, so we're not actually creating it at the finish step, we're auto binding, and that's why because you can't auto bind if you don't create anything.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
So we'll play around with this. We might have to go back and like tweak it, but let's just play around with this. So add a new parameter. And the parameter will be canvas of type canvas. And it's not a list or an array or anything. And then add a new parameter. No, we need 27. I'm just trying to think of how like we're going to go through each type and create 3 of each type. So, and then it will come to me. It just sometimes takes a minute to think through it.
Do you want to come back to the question a little later?
No, not at all. This is the work.
Yep.
This is the work, folks. This is what we get paid for one way or the other, whether clients are paying us or users are paying us. This is how we make our money. So, let's see, let's send in, let's just call.
Sorry, what was the issue?
Yeah, so, okay, so go back to the design page with the canvas. And so let's show Juan, because Juan will probably be like, oh, I've done this.
I probably want to show everything. Do you want to show, are we showing every step?
No, just show the canvas itself at the bottom. Okay, so Juan, what we've done is the canvas is a collection of answers, and answers are very simple. They're connected to the canvas. They have an answer of type text, and they have a type, which is an option set type. And then, yeah. And so there are 9 different types, and we want 3 answers of each type for each canvas. So when he goes to create all of those things in the back end, I'm just thinking how create 3 of each of the 9 types of those answers. So if I was just making 27 things and not assigning a type, that would be easy. But I want to make 3 answers of each type for a
Yep.
total of 27 answers.
3 times 9, yeah. So it's because we need to be multiplying, right? 3 times 9.
So maybe I could just make 9, like make another workflow, API workflow, and with the different parameters, and then make what, 9 different actions to trigger that workflow. I don't know.
Or
That seems
another,
clunky.
maybe on the client side, we can have a state that is a list of this combination, or a list of like the numbers that you need, the list of things. So you pass then that list to the workflow, schedule an API workflow on a list.
I mean, technically we could copy a list, right? Because if we just make one template copy, then we could just copy the template. Okay. So yeah, let's do that. Let's just make a quick other page, a new page, and just call it temporary or whatever.
Do we want to clone it or just blank?
Just create it. And then just put in a drop down. Yep, and the dynamic will be like the options will be dynamic, and it's going to be canvas answer type options. And the choices source will be, yep, all canvas answer type options. Option caption will just be the current options display. Okay, perfect. And then put a button. Button, yep. And you can call it whatever you want. Create is fine. And then start edit workflow. And yep, create a new thing. Yeah, it'll be canvas answer. And then the don't set anything except the type. And the type will be the drop downs value. There you go. And then Actually, why don't we just go ahead and do 3 of those? So copy and paste that in the workflow.
Copy with
No. Nope. Go to the workflow.
in here.
Nope. Go to the workflow section. There you go. And then just copy that step and then paste it twice. Now just run the page, preview it. And choose the first one and then click create, and choose the second one and click create, and so forth. And keep going down the list until you're done. All right, and go to the database. App data. All Canvas answers. Yeah. Okay, we made some duplicates there.
Problem, solution.
Unfair.
A few times randomly.
Huh?
I clicked more than once.
Yeah, by accident. It's okay. That's fine. I think it was just channel actually. So you just need to delete 3 of the channels.
So there should be 3 of each, obviously.
Yep, it should be 3 of each. All right, and the way that you know that it's a template is because it's not assigned to a canvas. Right. So now what we can do is we can go to, you can delete your sample page. You just needed it for that.
Oh.
No, don't delete those.
Gotcha. This, right?
Yep. Okay. And then you can go to the backend workflows and delete the second one. You only need the one. And in that one, the canvas will stay, and then you can just hey Juan, when we copy a list of things, do we have to send the list in as a parameter, or can we create the list on a fly with a database search? I think we can do it with a database search.
Can you repeat the question? So copy a list, sorry, repeat the question, please.
Yep. So when we are copying a list of things, we can create that list of things on the fly, right?
Yes, when you add the action, copy a list of things, I think you can add there the search, yes.
Okay, cool. So this API workflow name will be Canvas Answers, is what you can call it, Thomas. I think it has to be, I think it's supposed to be lowercase with the underscore between, no space, but it gets, I don't, like Bubble is so good about like just letting you know on the fly when things like that are going wrong. But for that one, for some reason, it doesn't tell you that. It just shows you an error. Okay, so click to add an action in the workflow. And we're going to copy a list of things. And then the type of things will be Canvas answer. And the list will be do a search for Canvas answers, where the canvas is empty and the owner is empty. Okay, that should be good enough. And then now we need to process those. So we can.
Can you explain what's going on here just a little bit so I understand?
Yeah, of course. So we just created a list of Canvas answers in the database, right? That was when you were clicking and you were making 3 at a time.
Mhm.
So now we have a list of 27 Canvas answers in our database that are not attached to a canvas and they're not attached to an owner. That's how we're going to know which ones we want to copy, because all future Canvas answers that you create will have a canvas that they're attached to and an owner that they're attached to. And so once we create those answers, we have to process them. So we have to take the result of copying a list here, and we can send that into another backend workflow, and we will process and we'll add the canvas and the owner to each of them. So go ahead and click to add another backend workflow. And you can call that one processing if you want. And then the parameters, you'll put canvas of type canvas. Yep. And now the action will be make changes.
Make changes to a list of things?
I don't think so, because I think we're going to run this API workflow on a list. What do you think, Juan? Do you have any opinions?
How many? If they are,
it's 27.
I think and I mean, Bubble can handle it without problems.
Okay.
If it is like 100 items or less.
Okay.
So I think
make changes to a list
of things will be faster. Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and make changes to a list of things.
One thing, why you have a separate API workflow for that and why is not in the same? Good
question. Please, by all means, tell me where I'm going wrong, because I need to process. I'm gonna return a list. I guess if I'm making changes to a list of things, I can do it in the same workflow as opposed to running an API workflow on a list.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so just copy what you just created the step there in the processing workflow. You can just cut it or copy it and then delete that workflow and paste it in the other one.
Should I just delete this whole thing?
Yep. So then paste it there.
I guess after.
Yep. And so the type of things will be the results, or well, they'll be Canvas answer.
And this will
and then it'll be the results of step 1. And then you can change the fields. You can add all fields if you want. So we won't actually give the answer, so you can delete that because we won't have an answer yet. The canvas will be canvas. Yep, that's right. Because that's been passed into the workflow.
Okay.
So that's the parameter that you created in the workflow. Yeah. An owner will be current user. And then the type's already set, so you can delete that. You don't have to change the type. And that's it. So now when you click that button and you run this workflow, it will, what we have to do in the original workflow on the page is,
excuse me. The finger slipped. So now, as you were saying, when they click, nope, not on that one. I didn't name this yet. Okay, should be named differently. So when I click here, the API workflow is being ran,
Mhm.
right? I haven't instilled it in here though yet.
So add new is what we need to do is we need to create a canvas, a new canvas for them. So go ahead and create a new thing. And will be canvas. And then the owner, yeah. The answer is you don't have to set because we'll do that later. The owner will be current user. Perfect.
So this is-
So
and then the backend workflow is occurring. Have we set up the backend workflow action?
we have to schedule it.
Yeah.
So after step 2, we schedule it. Schedule API workflow. Current date and time. All the way at the bottom. And then canvas is result of step 2. And then why are you going to index in step 1?
That's right. I'm not supposed to be going to the index. I'm supposed to.
Oh, you were moving to stage 1. That's fine. You just have to put it at the end.
Say that again. I'm sorry. I just got a little confused.
You were setting the parameter to stage 1, so you just need to move step 1 to the end.
Okay, so now these two actions are allowing me to create the specific thing, and then now I can begin to auto-bind.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
So
I think
we need to
go ahead.
One last step.
Sure.
You need to send the canvas that you just created and display it in your groups.
In this one. You mean in each individual step?
Well, like you could set it in a state and have all of those different groups refer to the canvas that's set in a state, or you can do it through the URL parameter. However you do it, you have to reference the canvas that you just made on the page for things to work.
So can I do them? Give me a second. Could they be passed through when I'm going back and next through here?
Yeah, no, so you're yeah, so you've just created all of those answers for that canvas. It's just that references on the page should be to that specific canvas. So you have to find a way to send that specific canvas that you just created to the page to be updated.
When you say the page, you're talking about the whole page, right? This whole index page.
Right. So like when you go to your canvas, go down to the whole big canvas. So that group, if you click into the group around it.
This whole group here?
Yeah, the group that's around the whole canvas.
This one.
No, even the bigger than that, the one that includes the title, your lean business canvas. That one, it's set to type of content canvas. So you have to find out, like either send the canvas to that group or have that data source be a state, or somehow send that canvas in there. Otherwise it won't work.
It probably makes sense to use URL parameters, right? Likely.
So you're building this on one page. So I would probably, yeah, I would probably do it through a URL parameter. That would be fine. Juan, do you have an opinion either way? Maybe a hidden bowl or something.
Variable. I've not touched that yet.
Yeah. So just at the end of that workflow, maybe set a state of type canvas to be that canvas and then refer to that canvas everywhere.
Say that again, please. I'm sorry, I missed it.
That's okay. If you go to the workflow. So I'm going to go back through everything that we've done. You can kind of get the big picture of what we've done again. Yeah. Because I know when I'm just telling you what to do, it's like you're doing it, but it might not sink in.
For me too, so I'm still ramping up here.
Yeah, no worries. So if you go to the add new workflow,
in here.
that's not the add new workflow, right? That's the next button workflow.
Talking about this here. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So when you go to page index at step 3, add another parameter.
I see.
And canvas. And it will equal results of step 1's unique ID.
And so this is where I'm passing this specific created canvas into those groups, as you were saying.
Exactly. So now your groups, the data source of those groups will be to get info from the URL, and the info it will get will be that canvas.
Okay. Trying to catch up here. This canvas.
Uh-huh.
I have it as
so data source.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
It's going to be get data, so but not from an external API, from the page URL. The tab is going to be canvas.
Okay, of type canvas.
And the type will be canvas. And that's it.
Boom.
And now you're all set.
So,
and so
go ahead. I'll let you finish.
So you're all set for that group, but you would need to do that for each of the other groups.
Gotcha. So just follow the similar structure with each other group. Okay. I'll think I'll just take it on. And
so what we did from the top, what we did was we created the whole canvas template when they click the add new button. So when they click that, we're going to create a new canvas, and then we schedule the workflows to create all of those canvas answers. We assign, so if you go in the backend workflow, what we're doing is we pass in the canvas that you just created, and then we copy a list of canvas answers from the database. And then we make changes to those canvas answers to make them belong to the current user and the canvas that the current user just created. And then as those items are created, they become available to be edited on your page. Because the last action of that workflow of add new is going to navigate them to the stage 1. And it's also going to send the canvas into the URL parameters to be referenced by all of your groups.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at the video again.
Sure.
Just to reflect upon this, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. What was that?
I noticed some patterns in there with the URL parameters, so you're starting to make a little sense.
Yeah. URL parameters are pretty powerful. People often ask me, well, why would you use a URL parameter instead of a custom state or something like that? And the answer is because when you refresh the page, the URL parameter stays, but the state doesn't. That's one of the main reasons.
Yeah. Super awesome. I spent the last 2 days. You don't realize it until you start talking to people. Bit off topic here, but I've been on the app ideas subreddit and just talking to people directly about their ideas.
Mhm.
I mentioned Bubble and they're like taken back. They're like offended. I noticed that a lot of people are a bit hesitant, especially on the developer side. That's when you know it's going to be something, when people are like so
Well,
resistant.
I think that's hilarious, right? Because, and you can hear Josh and Emmanuel talk about this. They've put out a lot of content around it. Is like, they're not putting developers out of work at all. And that's not the intention. And they're not devaluing developers' work at all. What they're doing is they're freeing up developers to focus on the innovation of what they do, like the new things that they do, because they're taking the things that they've already done and making it available to the people who don't know how to code, right? And so instead of hiring a coder to do things that coders have been doing for years and years, instead of paying them like the rate to build that and code and take all of that time, you do it faster and less expensive to get the old stuff out of the way, so then you can build the new stuff, right? Like I see it over and over again with the apps that I work on at AirDev. We have to go to our internal team who does JavaScript, basically. They write JavaScript to enhance the app functionality of our apps that we build. So when I'm looking at, when you see a Bubble app that is doing all kinds of amazing, different, new, innovative things, usually what is happening is you're seeing an app that has a custom plugin, right? They've made a custom plugin and they have code going into that app. Well, who writes that code?
Right.
It's not the no coder, it's the coder who writes that code, and they can get paid a lot of money to do so. And so I see it all the time in the Facebook advertisements that Bubble puts out there. Now, first of all, we'll be a little bit critical of Bubble. I understand that they have to do it this way. This is how they've grown. To the extent that they've grown is they basically say it's easy to build on Bubble, right?
Yeah.
Would you say it's easy to build on Bubble, Thomas?
No, not at all. No, and
Oh,
that's just I say like I take that back. I was having this conversation with this guy. I find it easier than any other language I've tried learning.
mhm.
JavaScript, Python, I've messed around with some others. This is definitely the easiest and the least time consuming. So that's really nice.
Yeah. So I think that I agree with you. I tried learning to code. I've, thinking back of all of the different books that I bought that said they were going to teach me how to code, and then all of the different courses that I have on Udemy. And I've even completed a lot of courses, right, on these things, and still don't feel like I have the first clue about coding, and even not even just coding, like even CSS and HTML. It's like the syntax, learning the syntax to be able to do things. There's some sort of gap between that and actually understanding what you're doing and producing good work. And for all of the things going on in my life at the times that I was trying to do and learn these things, it never stuck. But I picked up Bubble a little over a year ago, and I can count on less than one hand the number of days that I've gone without logging into Bubble since then. And so it sticks, and I think about it, and I'm like, what else can I do? And I'm super excited. So
Yeah, honestly,
but
underestimated the amount of time saved and money too. I was telling this guy too, because he was. I've noticed that it's not, people don't resist out of hatred for bubbling. I feel like they resist because you're threatened. They don't realize that they're threatened either. But as I was explaining to this guy, he was trying to tell me that, oh, front end development through HTML, CSS, JavaScript is really easy enough, and this and this and this and that jazz. But I was like, what about the back end stuff, and the database stuff? Like, there's a lot of components. It's just like doing things by yourself as a traditional coder is very difficult. And as like myself, who wants to test ideas quickly, I value that over taking the time to, I don't have time. I don't have 5 years to learn how to become an effective Python programmer or, JavaScript developer. That I'll be dead by then,
yeah, and I mean, it's not like we're not using code to get this stuff done. We are. We're taking code that's already been written and we're repurposing it, right? Through a user interface. We're repurposing code that's been written by coders, right? In intelligent ways to get things done much faster and with much less expense than hiring coders to do it. But if you make your livelihood as a coder doing the same thing, literally the same thing over and over again, just coding the same things over and over again, and you have to do that on every project or whatever, or you're just borrowing code from yourself. If you borrow your own code to avoid having to rewrite it on projects, that's the same thing as no code, in my opinion, right? Like, I don't mind it. And I just, like, with so many things, this fear that it's somehow going to put you out of a job. If you're afraid that the value you bring to the market is going to be become less valuable because of something else happening, you have to pivot. Like, if you truly think that that's the case, then see it. And it doesn't matter if you're afraid. It doesn't matter if it makes you angry. It's Who Moved My Cheese. I don't know if you're familiar with that book. Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
It's a really short, like, kind of funny book. And the premise is there's these two guys and they're in a maze, and they find that in parallel there's two mice and then there's two men, and both find this tremendous amount of cheese, and they're so ecstatic when they find it. And the two men are like, we're set for life. We're just going to eat cheese forever. This is the greatest thing. Like, we've won the lottery, and we don't ever have to worry about finding cheese again. And the mice, they found the cheese and they ate, and then they started looking for more cheese. And the men just sat there and they ate cheese, and the cheese, like, it starts disappearing. Right. But they don't really seem to notice that it's disappearing. And then all of a sudden they, like, wake up one day and they, like, have no cheese left. And they're like, who stole my cheese? Who took my cheese? Right. And nobody took their cheese. It's just like, if you don't, you can't become complacent and think that you've made it. And, like, especially with something that's not renewable and your skills in the marketplace, we are supposed to evolve, right? People are supposed to be able to do better and better over time, right? And we should be better at teaching other people how to do things over time. And we should be cutting off the time that it takes to do things. So, like, if you feel threatened, buy something coming on the market that you think is going to take your job away, you have to go find your cheese. Simple as that. That's my summary of this
gospel right there.
Agree,
much beloved
totally.
Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. It's a great book. Oh,
Innovation has no time to wait.
no.
I have a client that asked me like last week, like if I can teach him like in a day, like full day, so he can do his own app. And I was like, okay.
Can you teach me how to bubble in a day? I
Yeah.
mean, that's hilarious because I learned really, really fast. A lot of people seem to be very impressed with how quickly that I learned bubble. I've been bubbling for a little bit over a year now. And but if you take all of the hours that I put into learning bubble, I don't think you would think that it was something that you could learn super
Yes.
quickly, right?
And
Like I
was a-
learned quickly because I wasn't working at a job full time somewhere else. I was just devoting all of my time to learning bubble, and it was living off of my savings. So yeah, tomorrow is our 100th episode. I'm super excited.
100.
Wow.
Yeah. We've done this 100 times as of tomorrow. We'll have done this 100 times.
Did you want to do something special?
Yeah, so I was thinking about putting a poll out there. Who is this spamming me? Yeah, I was thinking about putting a poll out there and asking people what they thought we should build as a prototype or something. I wanted to do, so I was talking to Callum actually, and I thought he might be good at hosting a special episode sometime in the middle to late September. And where we could do something bigger. But I was thinking maybe for tomorrow, we could actually try to figure out an idea and build an app together.
Like,
So tomorrow might be a little longer.
now, when you say
normal.
building out an idea, are you talking about from brainstorm to like actual like MVP?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
like let's,
I am about that, you know that. Let's get
yeah,
it.
so like I'm feeling a little bit like sad because the group that I'm in that's going to be putting on startup weekend, they moved it. It's going to be sometime in November now. And I'm like, man, I was really looking forward to building an app with Jay and Thomas. So yeah, so let's just do it.
I'm so about it. Yeah, I think it'd be cool too in general. People popping in. Imagine we come up with some like cool idea that people actually use. You know, that'd be great. Why not?
Yeah, that would be really cool. So yeah, so should I put a poll up in the group and maybe tweet it out and see if we can get some ideas to work from?
What sort of poll? Because how are you going to structure the poll? Like, what sort of question are you going to be asking?
What should we build?
What problems do you face? Like, do we
Okay.
want the idea based off of a problem, or do we want to build the idea based off of just the suggested idea? That's what I was curious.
I don't know. I think I'd be open to either, just like looking around. Like just looking around and seeing what's out there and seeing like who what. But I was thinking a poll might be helpful because we could run the poll in just CoCreative NoCode and probably get some really good answers.
I'm curious to know though if between now and tomorrow we'll get the answers that we want.
True. So I don't know, maybe tomorrow we'll just brainstorm.
Sure.
Yeah.
We could I guess everybody that participates, we can ask everybody what sort of problems that they deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, kind of just go one by one. I'm trying to think through this. I've done a few. I'll take a look, but there's a few like UX little brainstorm sessions. But yeah, sounds like.
Yeah, so that will be fun. One way or the other, we're gonna have fun. I was also thinking tomorrow we could just have like a laid back hangout day.
Yeah.
Like
Let's do it.
Order some food,
Oh my
whatever,
God.
and just chill.
I'll go get some pizza. I'll get us some pizza.
Yeah, order some food and we'll just like hang out, talk bubble.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh yeah, Eli does lazy bubbling. I got to chat with Eli earlier today. It was really good. I hadn't talked to him in a while.
How's he doing?
He's good. He's good.
Is he finding that harmony between personal life and their dev life?
I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that I said something about something being impossible and he was like, well, I wouldn't say impossible. I fixed it earlier today. I was like, that's so Eli.
Right.
So, and it was on your app one. So
Sorry? Eli's was in my app?
I was chatting with Eli earlier today. For those of you who might be watching the first time or didn't catch it, a couple weeks ago, we had Eli as a special guest on Office Hours. So so Eli is our technical support person that we rely on at AirDev. And I said I was exaggerating a little bit and saying like, we should be like, this is impossible. And he was like, well, I wouldn't call it impossible. I just solved it earlier. And I said, that's so Eli. That was the issue with the clicking all around and wanting things to still work when you're like using the app in a way that users aren't supposed to be using the app.
Oh yes, that was crazy.
I'm like, why would you even attempt to solve that? Like, why would you spend your precious time on solving that? Because to me, that's an unreasonable request. So I guess, I mean, okay, let's put it this way. You can have me attempt to solve anything if you're willing to pay, right? Like I will come up with a price, right? But expecting it as part of, like considering it as part of the scope when it wasn't really part of the scope, that's really silly. So, but, oh well. Well, I think do either of you have anything else for this evening?
I'm good.
We can hang out. I think I'd just wrap up office hours for now. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for the 100th episode of CoCreative NoCode's office hours. If you would like to join us for a complimentary session, here's how you do it. First, please like the either the Facebook Live or the YouTube video that you're watching. Go ahead and click that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you get our updates, and then comment on it or email us at team@cocreativenocode.com, and we will send you credentials and the instructions for joining as a guest for a free session of CoCreative NoCode's office hours. Thank you everyone for joining us, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Bye-bye.